Meeting to order. The first item on, we have a quorum here, so we're good. But the first item is to approve of the minutes of the July 23rd meeting. We got the packet.
So move.
Move to approve, is moved and second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed, any changes? Okay. Anybody who's, this is being recorded, gets recorded, right? Yes. So anybody, then I'll read this. For anybody have not been to one of our meetings, there's nobody here. Well, I don't mean nobody, I mean the public. This committee is with the Road Advisory Committee. It's a 9-member committee formed by Bloomfield Township Board of Trustees. It's the mission statement, well, it was up there a minute ago.
I'll get it back.
Okay. It is to seek solutions to the local road conditions throughout the township. Except for Mr. McCready, our township supervisor, we're all unpaid volunteer township residents. We come from all parts of the township. And all of these volunteers are here. They're leaders either at the township level, at HOA level, or have vast experience in leadership in other organizations. Our mission, which is up there now, is to seek innovative solutions to getting our subdivision roads repaired at a reasonable cost and to get more control over them. The mission statement is broad enough to allow for a blank sheet of paper approach, yet narrow enough to stay focused on the goals that we've set for ourselves. So you want to hear from as many people as possible. Obviously, there's no audience here, so we won't have any public comment here, but please contact us with comments, questions by email or however you choose to do it. So on the agenda tonight, we're honored to have State Representative Donnie Steele here. Thank you. I know you're very busy. Thank you for coming and helping us try to get this. And Michael Shostak, our treasurer, is here. And elected official. Still here. Mr. McCready's still here.
Not going
So
anywhere.
we're honored to have everybody here, and we have a full complement of people here. We're ready to do business. So with that, why don't we just go right into it?
I'm speaking?
Well,
We'll ask questions.
I don't think that they, okay,
But why don't you catch your breath for a minute, because I want to tell the board something I just learned.
okay.
It's not.
It's red.
It's red.
Mine is,
Now it's green. Thank you. So we had a neighbor write us about his culvert in front of his home.
His what?
Culvert. You know what a culvert is? The ditch.
Mm-hmm.
Pipe. And communities that don't have storm sewers, they have culverts. And usually the culverts lead down to some sort of a drainage ditch or to a pipe somewhere down the road to absorb it all. Those drainage ditches, from what I understood, are the responsibility of the Road Commission of Oakland County. And we have many communities that have ditches that are full, meaning they've grown up and haven't been maintained. So if you go to fix your culvert, you've got to get permission from RCOC to follow their guidelines of doing that. And that also includes under your driveway where the pipes go through.
It's in the right of way.
Right away. So this is another issue that we're going to have to address, because we have some neighborhoods, water is sitting and standing because those culverts have not been maintained.
Okay.
Add it to the list.
Well, anything that's roughly 17 feet off the curb,
Easement.
30 feet from the center, about 17 feet in, that's the county.
Right.
If you want to put a driveway in and want to put a driveway approach in, you have to get a permit.
Yep.
Yeah, we had just a story. So I'm from Orion Township, and we the 100-year rain that we had, and we had like these lakes that were literally backing up into the road. And so we started cleaning some of those ditches. And we have a Vectra truck that you use for the cleaning out the septic line, and we were cleaning them, getting the stuff, putting in it, and we were gonna take it to Oakland County to give them their sludge. And then they're driving up there with their dump trucks full of the sludge, and they said, well, we don't want it. And we were like, it's your stuff from your drainage ditches. And we're like, no, it has to. It's hazard bio waste, and it has to be treated as though it's bio waste. And he goes, listen, this is your sludge. It's either you're going to go in where you take it, or it's going to just go on your driveway. And we didn't help them any longer, which was unfortunate, because I don't think they've cleaned our drains in 20 years. So And what they wanted to do at the state level is to allow the Drain Commission to put an opportunity to charge for those drains, that they can charge a user fee at the township level to be able to maintain those drains. And I wasn't in favor of that, just because they're already supposed to be taking care of them, and if you allow.
Paying them twice.
If you allow the Oakland County Drain Commission to be able to attach a fee to be able to clean the drains that should already be cleaning, I didn't think that that was necessarily in all of our best interests, so.
That's a perfect segue.
So-
Perfect segue
Yes.
into what we want to talk about.
Okay,
And that
so-
is the problem with the county owns the roads, owns that right-of-way, and wants nothing to do with it.
Okay, so let's start from, hi, I'm Donnie Steele, and thank you for inviting me. And I have been in office for 2.5 years. And the House of Representatives is Republican majority. And the last 2 years, I was on the Transportation Budget Committee as well as the Appropriations Budget Committee. And this year, being that we have majority, I have become the chair of that sub-appropriations committee. And so it has been our goal to fund the roads more, bigger funding for the roads in the state level overall. And we have identified $3 billion to add to the budget compared to what I've seen in the last 3 years. So we've identified $3 billion, and most of it will go to the neighborhood roads, not to the trunk lines. The trunk lines are, US 23 and I-75 and those lines. So the local roads. So as you know, we don't maintain our roads as townships. The money goes to the road commission, and the road commission then determines what communities that they repair based on a phaser study that they do to see which condition and which needs the most attention. So we just submitted our budget today, actually, to the appropriations chair. Her name's Ann Boland. She's the appropriations chair of what we've been going through systematically with the $3 billion. We passed 8 bills in the House of Representatives to identify this $3 billion worth of funding without raising taxes. Those bills went to the Senate. The Senate has reviewed them. They had committee meetings on them, but they did not adopt them. So it's a 2-part process. Once they adopt those bills, then we can present the budget. But we have to have a budget presented by October 1st. So our goal would be to have them approve those bills so they can approve the funding and then be able to add $3 billion. So with Oakland County, the way it's broken down, it's a formula of that extra $3 billion. Oakland County will receive close to double what they normally receive annually. We get about $112 billion. And with this new funding source, we would, based on because we have more roads, we have more people, we pay more user fees, and therefore our formula is bigger than anybody else in the state. Oakland County gets more road funding than any other county, which there's 82 counties in the state of Michigan. Than any other county in the state of Michigan, we would get more funding. So if this passes, we would get $200 million for Oakland County. But then it's the road commission that segued, let's go back to what you said, is in charge of that funding. And the road commission board is in charge of the road commission. And the Oakland County Commissioners is in charge of appointing the road commission board. And so we just have to make sure that what we want in Oakland County is acknowledged at the board level, in my opinion.
Well, I just want, what you just said, the problem is that the way it's structured is that the county, the road commission, has a policy that anything that is a subdivision road, they will not fix. They have some maintenance agreements, whatever, but if it's gonna be replaced, it's a special assessment district for that subdivision. So they can get all the money in the world, but their policy is not to pass that through to townships. That money will go to cities, perhaps, direct, go to villages, but it goes to the county, the road commission, and that doesn't pass through to the township. We have to pay it, I have to pay it if I want my road fixed, built, rebuilt, we all do, in front of our house.
Right. I suppose I didn't know that, what you just said. I didn't know that that was the policy of the road commission, because theoretically, they actually own the roads in front of your house. When the subdivisions were put in, they were by the developer had to do them to the specifications of the county with the drainage ditches and all that stuff. And then the developer then in turn deeded it back to the county for them to maintain and own those roads. And so they certainly could fix them. I mean, and the money is designed to go to the counties for them to address these local road issues, not just your, yeah.
But they don't. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
The issue is that that by de facto, how they present themselves, they'll say one thing, yeah, we're responsible for all the roads, and then by how they act or behave, they have nothing to do with them. So we sitting here like, okay, we'll take it over or whatever, but I don't want to get into that, but, so they may not have a rule that says, we don't give any money to townships, but that's the way they behave.
Not that they give the money to the townships, not to, they don't give them to you, but they don't take care of the neighborhood roads is,
Yes.
okay.
Right.
The
We have
cities and
people-
villages are in line ahead of us.
Okay, and there's a clarification with that as well too. So, there's 82 counties, but there's only 81 road commissions in the state of Michigan. There's 531 villages and cities in the state of Michigan that actually own their roads. So when I say that the road funding will be doubled for the road commission, that doesn't include the cities and villages. They will also get more money. So Rochester, Berkeley, Royal Oak, all the cities plus the villages, like, the city of Bloomfield Hills gets their own funding. I have a village in Orion Township, they'll get additional funding. So that money that goes to the Oakland County Road Commission is not for the cities or villages, because the cities and the villages own their roads.
So this is for townships.
Yes, the road
Okay.
commission strictly fixes basically the county roads, and it should be the subdivision roads, and
They
then
don't.
and the side. And they don't, and what they have said is that they don't have enough funding. And so this was part of the whole reason for doing the funding this way, is because what happens is when you only have $6 billion, it goes, the bulk of it, $4 billion of it goes to Department of Transportation, and then they fix all, like, the US 23s and all those roads. And so this, I don't have my map, I'm sorry. There is a funding mechanism. It's called Public Act 51, and it's like, figure like the bucket. This is my, remember that you put all the marbles in the top?
Chico.
And Chinko, and then they go like this, right? And there's funding for buses, there's funding for airports, there's funding for ports, Detroit Port Authority, there's funding for bus drivers, railroads, railroad crossings, administrative, paying for past debt. It goes all to the bottom, and then there's 3 buckets. The buckets are MDOT gets a third, the road commissions get a third, or a little bit more than a third, and the cities and the villages get like 22%. So this new funding of $2 billion bypasses, $2 billion of it bypasses all the marbles game, and it goes right to the bottom bucket of the county roads and the village roads. and then $1 billion does go in the bucket, and everybody gets a little bit more funding at $1 billion, which also gives us more funding. But that extra $1 billion is bypassing all of that and going right to the bottom. And what the road commission said is that they're short about $500 million to catch up these neighborhood roads to make them in what they deem as good. But I know that there's other things that they have to hit before those neighborhood goods because of the safety of like, because you think, okay, you pulling out of your driveway is obnoxious, but going 65 miles an hour on 18 Mile is dangerous. So they're going to fix those major roads, of course, and hopefully the idea is they take some of the extra funding and they start systematically fixing some of these neighborhood roads. Because it's not just Bloomfield, it's all the townships have the same complaint.
Yeah, we would have not a lot of confidence that all of your hard work is going to be accretive to people you see sitting in front of you. If you weren't aware of the SAD process, many of us are here because of our challenges about how to address deteriorating roads for exorbitant funding. You probably know from Mr. McCready, as an example in Bloomfield Village, we are, quote, fixing the roads with our own financial resources, where you have 75 linear feet, is costing individually each of us $50,000 unless, and $68,000 if we decide to not pay in one fell swoop. When you have to multiply that times two, because a person across the street, across the road, is paying the same. That's $100,000 for 75 to 80 feet. We had no control over the budget, the way it's constructed, feedback, et cetera, and so we are paying for our own road in front of our homes. Other parts where other folks have not approved an SAD because of what I just told you.
Right. And part of the package too is they keep saying that the road commission, that the townships, and I haven't seen it in Public Act 51, that the townships are supposed to pay a portion of that match for those neighborhoods, which is not, it's not, we don't own the road, so we don't do that. But in that bill package, they also say that there doesn't have to be a match by the township to be able to fund those roads. But Oakland Township, I have heard numbers similar to yours. Cement, fill in the cement in $60,000, and which ends up, a lot of cases, all your equity in your home.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got,
Yes.
Is this, if this is approved, is this a one-time, 1 year, 2 billion, or is this, do you anticipate it's a recurring?
Yes, the idea is to be reoccurring because they're legislatively put forth. So
Yeah.
there are legislative bills to put this funding move
Okay,
forward.
okay.
And it's, I don't want to complain about the state and the state government and state budgeting, but when there was a surplus when I got there of $9 billion, and they literally did not give any more to road funding, zero. No, it was $6 billion from the previous year, $6 billion when they had that $9 billion, and that $9 billion, none of it went, there might have been one or two road projects, but it didn't go into the funding, which is like at home. Your roof leaks, you say, well, we're not going on vacation this year because we have to fix our roof. At the state level, if it's not dictated almost in a budget legislatively that the dollars go for this specific purpose, they don't seem to be able to help themselves, and they want their wants and not their needs. And so, to answer your question, this is a legislative change to move forward, hopefully, to at least get us in a good condition category across the state.
Can I ask you a question? Thanks for clarifying some of this, what's going on in Lansing. Now, this $2 billion, so that is great. Is that in addition to the bond that Governor put together a couple of years ago that funded all this road commissions and others? Is it separate from that, or in addition to that, or is it in lieu of that?
That's a really good question because she allocated a borrowing, and the reason why the money is supposed to be spent by the legislative body, just like it does here at the township board. The board decides who spends what money, and the same thing is at the state level. We are to spend the money. We are supposed to release it. However, because money for the roads comes from two major sources, your gas tax and your registration fee. That's where the main sources of the funds come in. And because you have that reoccurring legislative money coming in, they're allowed to go out and bond up to a certain percentage based on that funding mechanisms without having to go to the legislative body to get the approval of borrowing more money for the roads. So she borrowed an additional $3 billion. And I know you guys all know they repaired what? I-75, 696, 275, 96, 69, all at the same time, in the last couple years. So all that funding went to fix those major trunks. There's 700 million more that they can go and finish projects that they want without having to go through any legislative process, and it does not count this $3 billion. That's separate. But the issue is when you borrow that money, when they first borrowed that money, think about what the interest rates were, 5 years ago? 0%, 1%. So it made it actually ended up being a good thing in a sense because they were able to borrow money less than what the inflationary costs of actually fixing the roads are today. We all know what happened with, it cost, $100 million to fix a mile. Now it costs $200 million to fix the same mile because of the inflationary cost of today's products than it was 5 years ago. So when they fixed those roads 5 years ago at 0% interest was probably a better economic, not smart, lucky, I would have to say anyways. And so they have the ability to go out and bond that last $700 million. However, the interest rates are higher and they haven't done it yet because the payback is expensive, which takes away from your road funding today by paying your bills back of yesterday. So right now, we pay close to $340 million annually to pay back not only those bonds that she borrowed, but bonds from previous administrators as well, too.
So the newsletter says, Road Commission newsletter said they got, because of this bond, they got $200 million, and that's gonna stop now? Is that, maybe I'm confused, but.
200 million's gonna stop now. They have to pay the debt back, $200 million every year. I don't know if I understood you right.
So this, the money, the new money that you are appropriating, or the legislator, that money will be for perpetuity, or?
Yes, perpetuity, and we're not borrowing it. We're reallocating funds, and I can go into detail of how we're reallocating. So it's basically it's funding that's already in the budget for, instead of buying widgets, we're gonna put it into the roads. So it's just a move across versus borrowing or, and we changed it legislatively, so it should be into perpetuity. But, the way the costs go up, $3 billion today's, you're gonna need to continue that, increase that number. And better, budget better, and make sure the dollars are being spent appropriately.
One related question, one last question. Sorry. What I read in the papers is because of the federal Medicaid funding loss to the state, they'll have to put that money from the budget from elsewhere into the Medicaid? And how does that figure into this $2 billion?
The big beautiful bill, they did a fiscal analysis on it, and they determined that, and it's not immediate, but it seems like over the next 5 or so years, that there'll be close to $1 billion less for the state of Michigan, and it's not really the Medicaid or the Medicare, it's okay, and when I get into the weeds, just go like this, okay? But like, corporate income tax, they're allowing, if you own a building, right, and you paid, $5 million for it today, you can write it off this year on your taxes, the entire amount. You don't have to depreciate it over the period of time. And so now your revenue basis went, so let's say you're a $10 million company, you're writing off $5 million, your basis is $5 million versus if we were to take 20% of that over a 10-year period. We use, at the state of Michigan, that basis to determine what our corporate income tax is in the state of Michigan that goes into our general fund. So when they made those adjustments at the federal level, they affect our bottom line immediately because of our basis is based on the federal government's basis. And so our corporate income tax money will go down, which, I don't know, I'm pro-business. I mean, good. So we just have to spend less and do better with what we have,
I
so.
want to recognize Jeff. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was curious, on the committee deliberations and where you got to the bill. You recognize the issue that the townships have, and they're not at the table. We've got this, the state, the cities, and the counties. Was there any discussion, or could there be any discussion, or could it be added to the bill that of that money, it's obligated? So if Oakland County gets X, that there's an obligation that X% of that has to be spent on the township subdivision roads. Because otherwise, it's gonna be business as usual, as everybody has indicated. And so I'm just curious, why, is it possible to also, because you're doing allocations, to have an allocation that says of the money you're getting, X% has to be spent for the roads that you're.
Very good
jurisdiction.
question, and I tried to do that, and they were like panicked.
Well, they should be.
Not because of what you have to present before them that is not important, because again, I mean, the most that I hear from are people like you, residents, having to deal with your driveway to the highway and the expense of that. And I wanted to add, so you have the budget, vision, a spreadsheet, with all the numbers. But then you have what you call like a boilerplate, and a boilerplate is directions, how this money is spent, and, the first, I don't know, $50 goes to whatever, and there's boilerplate language. So I wanted to add in the boilerplate language exactly what you said, that we dictate for the road commissions that so much money has to be spent on these neighborhood roads. And the pushback that I was given is that here we have 8 bills from the House that passed the House that the Senate won't even acknowledge, really, because here we have a House we have split government, right? Democrats in the Senate, Republicans in the House, Democrat governor. And it's unfortunate, I don't want to say it's a party issue, but they didn't really like our package. They didn't like our package. So the governor's all over trying to fix the roads because that was the promise that she made 6 years ago, right? Going on 7 years to fix the roads. So, but the Senate has to agree to it. And so they said if I tried to add more fingernails into these bills or into the boilerplate, let me go back. Into the boilerplate before we even had these bills even passed through Senate to even have the governor sign, but I'm already like preemptively saying, okay, this is the money we think we're gonna get, and this is the money that you have to spend it accordingly because we think we're gonna get it. They said, we have to get everybody to buy in first before we dictate this goes to the neighborhood roads. So I was strongly advised not to put that into
But is there a
boilerplate.
process that somewhere, as this goes through the system, to add that?
Yes, and that's what they said. We could, we could possibly, after the budget, or after these bills get passed, and the budget gets through, you could make, as the budget as it goes, okay, so like the township board, you guys watch the township board meetings? And what's on the agenda, and somebody makes I make a motion to, to spend more money on garbage cans. And we have 2 short garbage cans down the street, and we want to add 2 more garbage cans to the budget. And I make a motion to add 2 more garbage cans to the supervisor's budget. You can do that right at a board meeting. And you can do that at the state house as well, too. So we have this proposed budget, which is actually a bill. It's a bill of law. And you put it in a bill format, and before you vote on it and take a final vote on it, you can amend it. So, yes, that's a long answer to yes.
No, yeah, but then the other question, does Act 51 then dictate, or do you have to change Act 51 also, because the way it's, the way it says how the money has to be
No,
spent?
the new laws, no, you do not have to change the boilerplate, you do not have to change Act 51. But these new set of laws are in addition to Act 51. So that's why you're able to go around Act 51 and just put them into the local road system.
So the process would be, once the Senate agrees to the package, then where does, in the process, does that language get added? That's where I'm curious. Is it back to the House, and then the House says in conference committee, then you add the language, or how does that happen?
Yes, just like what you described.
Well, when does the yeast germinate in all this process? When does it start to throw off things like alcohol and things that are desirable products of yeast and things? So you've got this.
I'm like, okay.
You've got this bolus of money,
Yes, $82 billion.
$82 billion. Now you're going to take $2 billion of that and add it to the bolus.
The bolus being the road.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay? And then what we're asking for is, we don't want to be ignored once again, as we've been ignored for a long, long time. We won't go into that, about fixing our own roads that are just by the road commission's own, it's a big red chart. There's no blue or green on it. So 80% of the roads are in poor condition, something like that.
Somebody asked earlier.
So that's why the angst about, if we get flapped into win again, we just think we're going to lose.
So as a representative, my voice at the state level is supposed to replicate your voice. So when you say we don't have any standing because we have to go through the state, and the state gives it to the county, and the county does what it says, my goal is to fix the local roads. And it helps that I'm on this committee. Not to say that I can accomplish it, but it's not, you're not being represented, because I live in a township. I actually feel your same pain. I mean, literally. And so I'm there to advocate on your behalf to the best of my ability while I'm there. However, if I do it like this, like a sandwich, and you guys are like this with the road commission, we might be able to get some release on the pressure that we're seeing in our subdivisions. I walked most of your subdivisions. They're terrible. They're atrocious. I had a little, I had a little electric scooter on the roads because it makes it easier to go door to door when I knock on doors. I almost killed myself on the roads. I mean, they're literally, some of them are down to dirt. So I'm advocating for you on your behalf, and that's what I'll continue to do. I guess that's a long story short.
Do you see the Senate approving the package that you put on their desk? And what can we do
Call your senator.
to move things along?
Truly, because, so every opportunity that I have to talk to one of the senators, they say, well, we don't know where the funding's coming from. And I say, well, it's very explicit in the bills where the funding's coming from. But what they're saying is that, okay, let's just say back to the big beautiful bill, that there's other fundings that are, I'm not on that budget, so I'm not as astute with like the public to the Medicaid. So let's just say, I'm just gonna I'm making this up, so let's just say $500 million has been removed from Medicaid. So they wanna see what the whole packet is to see that that money might be funded before they give it to the roads. You know what I'm saying? So at the state level, they're fighting for the same pot of money. And so they don't wanna approve these legislative bills to say that we're gonna allocate this money for these specific items without knowing the rest of the story. Are we cutting out, school lunches is a perfect example. Are we gonna cut out school lunches? Free lunch and breakfast for everybody. I mean, that's a huge expense that I think the federal government said no to. No, I'm sorry. The federal government only pays for lunches for people of need by verifying that they need. The state of Michigan decided to pay for everybody for free lunch and everybody for breakfast. The House believes that we should go back to the old way. Give lunch and breakfast to those that need it, and everybody else buy their own lunch or bring their lunch. That's not necessarily how the Senate sees it. So they want to see all the cuts before they approve the spends. And that would have been, that's an example of one that we don't agree with.
I'd like to go at this also from another angle as well, not just the Public Act 51 and the new money that's coming in. Michigan is one of the few states that puts sales tax on gasoline. Most states don't. Most states also have tolls on the roads. Would there be an appetite in the state of Michigan, being that if the sales tax was removed from gasoline, and a toll road system be put that go 100% to roads, and the cost to the driver would be the same because they wouldn't pay sales tax, and yet there'd be the tolls when they use the roads. Would there be an appetite at the state to look at it from that, so that the toll, like Pennsylvania, from New Jersey, from Ohio, from others, that their roads are far superior to ours, because they have tolls in the roads and the money goes directly to the roads, where sales tax goes to the general fund. So is there an appetite at the state to look at something like that?
We are peninsula, so toll roads.
Wait,
I'm told we can't do toll roads because of the way they were funded when they were built. If you do it from scratch, and this is a designed toll road, then yes.
Well, let me hear from our state representative.
I'm very impressed that you guys know these details because you dug into that Public Act 51. So go back to this. The Senate wants to change the Public Act 51 before they move forward. I'm like, the term papers due October 1st. We are not going to do Public Act 51. But you're right. The sales tax, so the tanker goes to the marathon, the big balls and downriver, and they fill up their tank. They pay sales tax right there. And then they, in turn, charge it to all the gas stations when they fill up their tank. That sales tax, like you said, goes into the general fund. A part of this 8-bill package is to take, it's $1 billion. So I talked about $2 billion, going around. The third $1 billion is the sales tax, and that's to be plopped in the top of the Public Act 51. So that's part of the package, that all tax for the gasoline goes into our roads. And that's $1 billion worth of extra money that would go in there forever. That's sales tax forever goes into Public Act 51, and the other 2 is for the local roads. So yes, the answer to that is yes. The toll roads, there was a study that was done, and who said that about your roads have to be designed to be able to accept the toll roads? You have to have certain side you know, how big your, what are those called on the side? Shoulders, thanks. How big the shoulders are, how to accommodate, you know, the going underneath the easy pass. They determined that to make our state toll ready, and I don't know how many roads it was, cost $8 billion just to make them ready. But the toll guy would be happy to put us $8 billion in debt, because then they know the first $8 billion of toll money goes right back to them, and it doesn't really go into our roads. So I would think that if we're gonna expend, because you're really just going in debt $8 billion, let's just not do that. Or if we do that, let's put $8 billion into our roads and minus the tolls. And we already pay a gas tax, we already pay a registration tax, we already pay, you know, not only when you pay gas tax, a state gas tax, and you pay a federal gas tax. So why is your gas different than South Carolina versus Ohio? Is because every state charges different, but 60 cents of every gallon goes to the federal government. So they collect that money, the federal government collects that money, it goes to the federal government, then the federal government dollops who they feel, and we get about $2 billion back. We are more of a donor state. We give more than what we get back. So, that was, where was I saying about the toll roads? Oh, so we paid in our gas, we paid in our user fees, and we've been, how long have you, who's lived here more than 40 years? You know, I have. I've been paying into that system for 40 years. Now I'm going to work, paying gas to pay more, to be able to pay more taxes, and then they're gonna ding me with a toll road. So I'm like, I think that we need to do better budgeting than to charge. Toll roads to me are taxes. They're just user fees, taxes, toll roads, taxes. So,
But if you take 6% off of every gallon of gas, which is the sales tax, 6%, you take that out of the gallon of gas,
that,
and you
right.
pay a toll instead. Now, there is an investment, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it would take you 8 years just to pay the toll roads to start collecting. I see what you're saying. I would rather not do it that way, because I don't want the toll roads. I mean, and then somebody said that we're a peninsula. So they said the best road to do it would be 94. And so some of those roads, so toll roads work great when you're a pass-through. Ohio is a pass-through. You get paid as you pass through.
That's true.
The 94 is a pass-through, so you're dinging other people as they pass through your state. But if you're going up 127, you're going up I-75 North, you're going, 96, 96, and you're charging the tax to the residents that live here. If anybody, that's why Ohio does it. And I think Illinois, those roads are atrocious. I don't know what they do with their money.
Well, what's the feeling about how the future of electrical cars are going to be integrated into this model for funding roads that obviously electrical cars use?
So, and it's not just the EV cars, but it's also, what are those? The Chrysler New Yorker 1979, would they get 8 miles to the gallon? Now we can get, 23 miles to the gallon?
So now you've got 30 miles per gallon is the norm, not 8 miles per
Right.
gallon, so you use less. So what the
So,
thought process?
so
of
the
that
the offset has been that they did increase the tax at the pump. They did do that. It's up to 30 cents, I think is what it is. I don't think I think it's 30 cents a gallon. So they did bump that up.
You're punishing the wrong people.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought.
Everybody else is they get to drive their cars for free.
Oh, okay. I got my thought back. So, when you pay the user fee for the Secretary of State, it's based on the value of your car. So the higher the value, the bigger you pay. However, if you drive an electric car, you pay more than the person that drives a gas car. And And there has been discussion, I've been in many meetings regarding a user fee, to where they put a little chip in your car, and you drive 200 miles, you pay a fee based on your 200 miles. It's what you call a user fee. And so that would correct that, but I'm like, I don't want a user fee, and a lot of people don't want a chip in their car. So to me, I think the thing to do the sales in the state of Michigan for EV cars is almost, 1%, 0? I mean, it's like the number of EV cars in the state of Michigan is like, very, very small. And so had they been what they had predicted, then we would have had a bigger issue than what I think that we're going to have. But I think that they should still probably charge those, and I think they didn't want to do a user fee for those EV cars because they were trying to sell the EV cars and the batteries and do the battery plants and all that stuff. And if you would have said, okay, when you drive an EV car, you now have to pay an additional $1,500 when you register it every single year, you wouldn't have sold the 1%. So I think it was intentional. But I do think that they have to look at those numbers and make sure that they're paying their fair share accordingly. I wore you guys out, sorry.
No, that's
No,
fine.
not at all.
But it really boils down to what we see, is the culture has to change. The culture of the money going to the county, and the county saying, you fix your own subdivision roads. You pay for it. She's paying $60,000 to fix the roads in her subdivision. We're looking at in our subdivision, and it won't pass, it's just gonna be too expensive. But the county's just saying, you drive on those roads, you fix them. It's like and I said this before, I own a commercial building, and I rent it out. And the person my tenant says, the roof's leaking, and I say, well, you're using it, you fix it.
Right.
Well, how do you think that would go over?
Right.
But that's the culture here. That's the culture. And the cities and villages, I'm not as sure about all the intricacies of how they're able to mill more or use it, but when they do an SAD, it's a third or 20% of what it is in a township to the homeowner, because there's cooperation between the city and wherever the money's coming from.
They don't have to do them to the same specifications, and some of them are, your subdivisions are federal roads, but there's some roads in the county that are federal roads, and that they have to have different specifications. And so, I agree with you, and I'm not sure how we can do that, but I think that the conversation has to start with the road commissions, and I actually, like, our road commission, I think, is relatively decent. Are they perfect? No. Our road commission builds the equivalent of what whole states build. Like, Oakland County Road Commission is probably the equivalent of all of Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? So some of these other states. So and you got to think of the urban sprawl. The townships keep on sprawling, and they project that it'll continue like that. People are not living in the cities, even though as much as people say they want to live in the cities, in the state of Michigan, people are still moving out to the townships. And so every time you build these subdivisions, they're sprawling. The projections of what they need are not taking that sprawl into consideration. And they really ought to, because if we're in trouble now after we've been here for 40 years in these subdivisions, the people, it's going to continue up in Oxford and Addison and all those communities that have not had the subdivision sprawl like Bloomfield and
Well,
Orion.
we're looking at Bloomfield Township.
Yes.
Okay, you're right, I get it in outstate, or in other townships, they are getting more people. Bloomfield Township is pretty much built out.
Yes.
And there's not more, homes are being torn down and new homes, but the road system, it's pretty much built out, and we're not getting any more expansion into it. And it just, we talked about this again and again, we have to figure out through either Public Act 51 changes, which comes from you, the state, or something to change that formula where the money doesn't go to the county, it comes to the township as it does to the cities and villages. That's all.
But the thing is with that, is then you own the roads.
Yeah, right. And you can also put stop signs where you want it, you can put traffic lights where you want it, you can put speed humps where you want them, you can control them.
I want them to fix them and then give them to me. I don't
Right.
want them in the repair that they are right now, because it's like, okay.
Well, we can meet in the middle, how's that? They
Yeah,
can
I
fix
just-
half
I-
of them and then they get
But
the
when
other
you're,
half too.
but you've got to remember that it's like not, the maintenance and the boulevard and the lawn cutting, and you have to have the trucks, and you have to expand your local governments to be able to maintain those roads. It's like, some of the villages, like I live in, well, I don't, I live in Orion, but, I stay up in Lansing a couple nights, and the road in the city of Lansing, those are the worst roads in all of Michigan surrounding the capital, which is a disgrace to me. But that's city roads where they ineffectively used their funds as well, too. So just assume, just because right now you have Mike McCready here, and he's gonna make sure all that money goes into the roads, but one day it might be Joe Schmo, and he's not gonna spend the money on the roads. So right now, it looks like we could manage it, and the roads would be great, but there's times where it depends on who the leadership is. Right now, the city of Lansing is atrocious.
So we just keep re-electing Mike McCready Ross.
We haven't fixed a road yet, so
We're
hang
fixing
on.
it that way. He's not leaving, and we're good.
Yes,
Just
good.
help us fix it with the road commission. We have no money, and we're paying for it
I
ourselves.
think that we need, what conversations have you had, Mike, with the road commissions? I mean, like, you guys are supervisors, and I know that as treasurers, because that's where I met Mike, is
Well,
treasurers.
They don't have enough funding for it to come down into the neighborhoods. They do a very good job of taking care of our main roads, like Lasser, Lone Pine. It's wonderful, but getting the inside interior roads, they just don't have any money. And so that's where the fall off is. Now, when Gary Petrovich was here from the road commission, we talked about, well, what if we kind of ran a millage to help pay for our roads? Would you do any matching funds? And he said, well, that's a conversation we could have, but where would they get the money from? So I think when we talk about these questions about, can you earmark some of these funds specifically to make sure they come in the neighborhoods, the bills are already in the Senate, but the Senate's rejecting what you've proposed. So that would probably be a nice thing to have, if you could earmark some of the percent of those dollars to come into our roads and tie it to maybe somehow matching dollars or something, so they're forced to do something.
Yeah, I did talk to Gary too, and he didn't want me to do that, but it was like, oh, I don't care what you want, I want to do it that way. But because they say, okay, this is our budget, we know when we need, I don't know, more salt, and they know when they need more dirt. But yeah, they would much rather have you guys fix your roads, because
Well,
not
that's
only,
what we're doing.
yeah,
And
not
look
only
at-
do you pay for them, but then you're
But we
responsible
have
for
to
them
now
at their
because it's become a
specifications.
safety- It's a safety
Right,
hazard.
that's right. So if this funding comes in, and I'm very optimistic and hopeful that they would, because it's like, I think the plan is spectacular. Act 51 should be thrown in the garbage, and we should start all over. But we have to work with what we have right now, and right now we need more funding. So if these bills pass and that funding is passed, then we need to have these conversations with Gary, starting now. Okay, supervisors, we're all get together, we're having Gary, it's like, okay, this 100 million, because it's public record what the funding will be for Oakland County. It's not just coming from me. You can go on Michigan State Fiscal, and you can see local road funding, and it'll have every county broke down, every city, every village of how much money they'll get if this passes. And I actually encourage people to do that, so it encourages them to call the senator and say, look what Oakland County would get. So if Oakland County gets that extra funding, what's their plan with it? That would be a really good starting question.
Back again to Bloomfield Township. There's only one township, I think two townships in the entire state of Michigan that have a road department already established. Bloomfield Township is one. So the maintenance of the roads, not rebuilding, not tearing out the roads, rebuilding them, that would have to go from a contractor, I'm sure. But the maintenance, we've already have the infrastructure to do that. But then again, back to the county. The county has a contract, and I'm not sure the exact amount, 800,000 or some number like that. And the township does the maintenance. Well, if the money came directly to the township or was forced through the language that you're talking about, we could do better job in maintaining, and then rebuilding with a far lower to each homeowner, because we have our own road department, and it could be done. Again, the culture has to change.
And there was actually a bunch of townships, not necessarily having an ongoing maintenance, but there was a bunch of townships that did have millages to fix, some major roads within there, like Independence Township had.
Canton Township, we just had them here just
Okay.
last meeting, and they did it.
Yeah.
Except they repaired all the major roads, not the
Yes.
subdivision, or they went out and built.
And that's what
Ford
Independence,
Road and,
that's what Independence Township did too, building their own roads. And it's unfortunate because it's like, okay, we've been paying in the system, you should be taking care of that. That's been my mantra from it's do best with what you have like you would at home, and do it at the state level. Take care of the things that affect the people the most. Our infrastructure, which is our roads, water, sewer, and our schools, and and make sure that our court systems are running smoothly. And everything else after that is extra. So yes. Sorry, I'm on my soapbox.
How will we know the outcome? I mean, we're less than 60 days away.
He's got my cell number.
Okay.
Literally.
a
So
battle.
he does ask for updates. And it really helps to have Mike understand the whole process at the state level, because that's where he came from.
Right.
So when I say, I go into Public Act 51, blah, 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 he's like, oh, yeah. And so it's easy to get through, the details easily. So I'm not educating him on the process, he understands the process.
I have a quick.
And you guys are all educated well, so he must have passed that knowledge along, so that is so helpful.
I have an ancillary question, but since you're in the legislature, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but the special assessments that these people are being charged, they cannot deduct it.
That's correct.
From their taxes because they don't own, the roads are owned by the county, is that?
Well, no,
What-
it's not allowed under federal law or state law at this time. So we've approached our Congresswoman Haley Stevens and also talked to the other supervisors, both in Oakland County, Macomb County, to approach their representatives to try and look at it in Congress at the federal level, to make it at least start to look at it to see if it's affordable. Because right now, as Mindy would tell you, she's right in the situation. If she were to pay her assessment every year, it goes on her February tax bill, it could add, another $4,000 or $5,000 to your tax bill, but it's separated, listed as a special assessment district, which doesn't make it eligible.
Right.
Like your property tax is eligible, up to $10,000 you can write off
But
on
if
your
you're a
federal
city and
tax.
village, you pay the tax, and that's part of that goes to the road, you can deduct
You would
it.
think so.
Yeah, so I mean, my only point is, in the legislature, even, I understand the federal issue, and that's a slog, but maybe at the state level, because of the situation, there could at least put your state income
Allow
tax.
something?
You know,
That-
could you
that's a-
say,
that's a- that's
to
a
allow
good
you to
idea.
deduct that?
It's a good idea. Other than you want to give them too many tools, then they'll say, we'll never fix them because you guys have all these options to
But
write them off and.
I think it's extreme, when I heard that, it's so unfair, that not only do you have to do it, you have to pay it, and then you don't even get the same tax deduction as somebody in a city or village
Yeah,
does. It is, this is another example how
I
everything
didn't
is upside
realize the
down.
villages and the cities could write theirs off, based
Because
on
there'll be
that.
other tax
point.
bill that won't be
So
separated.
I lived in, Indianwood, which is the golf course community, and it was a private road. And we were, because it was a private road, we didn't have to go under the county specifications. On one hand, they wouldn't do the SAD because they didn't own the roads, but on the other hand, that road was only $200,000. I mean, it was like $3,000 per homeowner, which was like well worth it because it made the whole subdivision look so much better, so, yeah, so it was a plus and
In the
minus.
meantime, let at least them deduct it from their state taxes.
Yes,
You brought it up, you said it just a few minutes ago about this Public Act 51. We've talked about that here, that needs to be, that really does, you just said it, needs to be changed. That's what's limiting, that's part of what's limiting our ability to get the funding out of the county, right into the township subdivision roads. Because the way it's structured, now, you're doing some research into how that's developing, we're gonna look at that. But what would we have, is that something, I know it's not gonna happen tomorrow or next year, but is that something that can be looked at?
Well,
To have
it's-
changing that and getting rid of, you just said it needs to be dumped.
Well, the Senate said that they have a proposal to, revamp it or get rid of it. I haven't seen it, but they said that they had something to be able to do it. So not only do we have Public Act 51, so I have the ability to meet with legislators from other states. And we're like the only state in the United States that has road commissions. I mean, most of the roads are maintained by their DDOT or their MDOT or whatever their, road commission. And and they said, oh, 81 road commissions isn't bad. It used to be 280. I'm like, oh my gosh, but you have 81, then you have the MDOT, and then you have 531 villages and cities all. And the thing is, you as a driver don't know when you're driving through Bloomfield Hills, if it's West Bloomfield, and it's all the same road, and it just, you're going from one town to the other, and somebody that's repairing that road, it's easier to have to deal with one instead of 3 or 4 different municipalities to fix the road. So, I mean, if I was the queen for a day, I would get rid of all of it. Let's start Public Act 51, and then all of these different entities that are maintaining the same roads that nobody knows the difference.
So this is all recorded, so I'm not telling tales out of school.
Oh, good, darn it.
No, just saying, so when MDOT was here, because Mr. McCready has brought in a plethora of accomplished people, yourself included. MDOT was here, we asked about their relationship with the road commission, how it works, how it's contracted, and asked specifically about the metrics. In other words, how do you evaluate your relationship? We did not receive an answer to that question. It's just a statement of fact. I don't know what the implications are from what I just said, but I mean, it's kind of quizzical, right? Like how the money's flowing to an entity, they are sourcing work to another entity, and when we asked how that works and how do you know you're getting, what are you getting for the value of the investment? That was an unusual, there was no response.
No response.
No.
And it does flow back and forth. I mean, not only maintenance, because MDOT doesn't maintain all the roads. They have, the road commission comes in and plows the roads, but not all the roads do they plow. They don't plow them in Monroe County. So they have to, Monroe County says, MDOT, you do it because and then there's like, Baldwin Road where Great Lakes Crossing is on, we had 5 roundabouts. Well, that's a federally designated road, so we were able to get federally eligible dollars to be able to get grants, but then you had to deal with but it was a county road, so the county had to have MDOT be the facilitator because it was federal funded, and MDOT had to be the facilitator for the county because it was federal funded, because they're not going to give that federally funded to the county. It has to go through the state of Michigan. And we, as a local government, also paid into that as well, too. So that was an extraordinary feat to be able to, and that was on the books for 20 years, but you can see why, because of all those matrix that you had to go through. So basically the relationship would be, it's kind of like my turf versus your turf. I don't know. I don't want to say that now that I'm recorded. I probably should have not said any of that, but it's.
Too late.
You'll eliminate.
So it just, and here we are, you think about Oakland County is extremely sophisticated versus Ironwood, which butts up right up to Wisconsin. I mean, they have road commissions up there that probably have as much equipment to fix the roads as Bloomfield Township, whole counties, So it's like, and so when you talk about, and then the way that their funding mechanisms, they might end up, some of them with this new funding got $0 based on the number of roads and how many people and user fees and stuff, that we had to give a flat fee because they didn't qualify for anything. So they got $100,000. So think about whole counties and getting $100,000. And we forget that the UP is still part of us, and they have all those road commissions up there too. And so trying to figure out how to make it apples to apples when we are oranges and bananas, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Well, so how did I do compared to the rest of them? Now that I know. Oh, see, I like you
best.
having Mindy on
Yeah.
there.
You know, I voted for you, but I never seen you in person other than your postcard.
Oh,
So I
good, okay.
appreciate meeting you.
Thank you, I appreciate you guys inviting me. Yeah.
All right, thank you very, very much. This is
Thank
very,
you.
very
Yeah,
informative.
thank you, Donnie.
And
Yeah,
you know
for
what, and
coming.
Mike's got my number, so anytime, you know, you wanna reach out, by all means. So can I take a picture now that it said that I was here with you guys today?
Sure. Where do you want us to all come down there and get a picture with you?
Or just have Mike
Maybe.
take it and I'll just stand where I was if you can get everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, that's
I'll
terrific.
stand here like I was talking over here.
Can you get a whole picture, or do you want us to move over?
No, I got you. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Okay,
Thanks, Donnie.
Thank
thanks
you.
so much.
I am gonna leave my cards, and then if, like, you guys ever wanna reach out,
That would be great.
via my
Yeah, if we
office.
call you individually, would you answer your phone?
Oh, I didn't, no, they took the phone off my desk because,
Thank you.
yes, they're like,
Because they don't want you in.
no, because I can't, no, because I can't.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Donnie.
Do like a meeting with me, it's easier that they set up
Thank you.
with the person at the
Sure.
front desk.
Okay,
No, I'm
thanks a
just
lot.
teasing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
This is
Donnie.
great.
All
Very
right,
good. Very good.
And keep the fight up.
Yeah, exactly.
okay, we wanted to,
We'll be expecting the phone call
Oh, no.
when the mother,
I gotta,
when the mother of all rules starts coming
well,
down.
when, all you did is just put it back in my head that I have to advocate appropriately, so, okay, see ya.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like your cheers.
we wanted to start the discussion on the path forward, what we're gonna be doing next. We're getting to the end of the information gathering stage. I think this is it, I think now. I don't think we have anybody else coming in, do we? All right, and we've got a ton of information.
I have a
And-
question though. Early on, we talked about forming a subcommittee.
Yeah, right, that's what I'm getting to, right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
And then, you know, I heard from her about Independence Township went through, which is within Oakland County, dealing with Oakland County Road Commission. I would personally want to know what is their feeling of when they passed the millage, they got part of money, and Road Commission were asked to fix their road. How did that go, that process?
Well, we can ask that, we can get that too, but what I wanted to do now, right now, is to see, well, Jeff, you had some great ideas. Why don't you talk about this?
We had the outline we talked about at the last meeting, and really, I think the question that we need to kind of come as a group is to come, what are the major sections that we want to have in a report, and then talk about how we want to prepare it. You know, we can do it, you know, a couple of us can get together and say, we'll take this section, or somebody else take that section, or we can do it as a committee of the whole, which will be difficult. And then I understand we may have somebody to pull it all together for us.
I don't know who.
So, but we need to figure out what we want to say, by which areas or categories, what kind of exhibits we want, and then we need to pull it together. And it's hard to do as a group. This would be not effective. So what I'm thinking, maybe for some discussion purposes, is maybe we kind of divvy up different sections of the report, and we can, you know, it's always good, maybe two people come together, because it's always good, or when each person takes a cut at it and brings it back for the board, so.
What we want to do, I didn't even bring this up, but what we want to do is sometime in September, do an interim report to the Board of Trustees. They set this up, I guess, in March, roughly. Now we're in August. By September, we're talking about 6 months. And I thought that it wouldn't be any solutions. It wouldn't be any final stuff. It just say to the Board of Trustees, we've been meeting, we haven't ignored this. We've met this many times. We found this kind of information, and here's what we're up to right now. And it would not be a report to say, this is what we want to do. So what we need to do is, and as Jeff said, we need to have people get together to collate the different things to figure out how we're going to do this report. And it's just a factual report. That's it. We're not trying to talk anybody into anything. We won't give our opinions. It's just, here's what we've done. That's where we're at. So that's what we're talking about.
So I looked at this from last time, and I thought this was the report you were thinking about sending it to the board, but this is not what.
That's just an outline, that's just simply an
I have some
outline,
edits on this, I don't know,
but that's just an outline. You have to fill in the blanks. All those blanks have to be filled in.
because I do want to emphasize.
Good, Jeff put that together, so you
Well,
want
no,
to.
it was just a way to start the
Done a
discussion.
great job. I just want to emphasize the subdivision or the local roads, because I think it could be misinterpreted as, there are Long Lake Road or
We're
Long
not-
Pine
no.
Road, but this doesn't say that. So we want,
I know.
I would personally want that identified, so that where our focus is on local roads. and
That's
not
the
all
mission
roads.
statement. It's right in the mission statement. You're right. You're absolutely
Yeah.
correct. But this is just an outline
Right.
of things, all this, every one of those lines has to be filled in with information.
Okay.
And it's just a suggested outline.
Well, this is his main.
But you're right. I mean, it's,
Right,
this, that's all we're about is the local subdivision roads. We're not talking about Long Lake Road.
Right, I mean, I didn't get that from here, so I just want to make sure.
But again, this was just a suggestion. This is not fine. This is, he came up with this just to say, it's an outline. Here's what we're looking at.
But I don't know if it's useful to go through and talk about PA 51 definitions and things like that to give to the supervisors. I think we ought to maybe make a position statement of this is where we are in the process, because if we're going to champion a millage, I'm not saying that, based upon what she said today, that would be the hallucinatory thing to do. Because the state may have a remedy for this. So we have to present it in that we have to be ready for the remedy. But this is how they have to start thinking about what priorities they're gonna have to do all this at one time. And those sorts of things. I think we can document that the roads are in bad repair, and we can do that systematically. We can just even, put up the map and, just say that there. And then kind of walk through that, and then the solutions are what is pointed out in the document, which are, they're there. And then say, right now, our position is this, or right now, our position is that. And I don't know that one person can put that part together. So, I mean, I'm willing to go through, writing a couple paragraphs about the state of the street address or something like that. I'm happy to do that.
Just one thing, see, the focus of what we discussed about what we're doing is not to get to the solutions. We're not there. We're not even close. What we want to tell, we're not even close. And suggesting millages, suggesting becoming a city rather than that, we're not there. We don't.
No, I'm saying that we have to say where we are. And if you don't think we're at, I mean, those are solutions. Those are 5 or 6 different solutions.
But
Which
we
one of
haven't-
those
We
is
haven't
different?
discussed a single solution yet. The ramifications of a solution, for instance, to become a city. We've talked about that here. We haven't talked about, Mr. Shostak would have to tell us about what the financials would be. We'd have to look up at how it would happen, can it be done, all that. We haven't talked about that at all. What we have talked about is, number one, the state of all the roads in the subdivision roads in the county with that, what's the name of that called again, that road?
Pacer.
What?
You're talking about the Pacer picture?
Pacer, yeah,
Pacer
with all the
road.
red lines all over. We do know that because we got that information. We just got information about this, about what's in the legislature. We can report that. We do know that the bonding goes away, according to MDOT. All the money goes away at the end of this year. There's no money left. The bonding's gone. We can talk about that because we got that information. But beyond the information that we've received, we have not discussed anything about ramifications of any or suggestions of any solutions. We're not there yet. We're just at the information gathering point. At least that's how I see it.
I agree too.
That's how I see it.
What I see is, we've got a real nice outline,
Mm-hmm.
and there are 4 big buckets, and each is a current situation, and it breaks it down by township.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is city, state, another one is financing and other deficiencies in the way things are. So if 2 of us agree to do one of those buckets, work together to work on a bucket, we've got 7 people. I mean, we could each, 2 people take each, take a bucket. I think we could.
That's a good idea.
Put
Yeah.
together a couple paragraphs, whatever your bucket calls for, and punch it to Susan, to whoever.
Be our editor.
And then, yes, and so she'll put it in English for us, and.
Can I ask a favor also, when you are doing that, if you can send me photos of your crumbling roads, would be lovely. Any kind of visual aid that I can add to the PowerPoint. Or actually,
Better
get yours
in the-
That's easy.
So that's
Don't even.
that's what I'm suggesting. We've got 4 buckets, 7 people. I think we can.
Okay.
And these are
Let's build on that.
really nice. Jeff
Okay.
did a great job.
But again, it's just gonna be about what we've learned so far from people coming here and telling us what we've learned.
Yeah,
No,
I think that's
agree. I
good.
totally
I agree
agree
too.
with what you
I agree
said.
too.
So I think would be, this is a suggestion.
Yeah, pick one.
Hold on, go ahead.
We can come up with 3 or 4 buckets and,
Could be, this one could
and
be a
Why not?
email, Susan can email to us, and then we can volunteer to work on
Oh, yeah, that's
which
good.
bucket, and that forms the subcommittee.
Sure, that
Okay,
works.
here you go, Jeff.
Go ahead.
We're gonna work on number 5.
Okay.
We got
Oh, we wanted to work on 5.
Pardon me?
current situation. We'll do the
Just
current.
kidding. I was totally kidding.
We'll do
Totally
current
kidding.
situation.
I don't care. Totally kidding.
So, that was,
Okay.
that's off the board.
Well, okay, so we have to look at financing, the current situation, the county, the state? Is that what, those are the buckets, right?
Yeah, there's
The township, county, state, and financing.
financing.
Those are the 3 buckets left.
Okay.
Did you take an easy one?
No. I think it's the hardest, it's the creative one.
Oh, okay.
Jeff, do you want to
creative
just
one.
assign 2 of us to
Yeah, why
every
don't you
bucket?
just tell us, and then we'll work on it.
And we'll work on, because we're getting late here, and we
and
guys
I
need
have
to
to
go.
apologize.
But also, can I ask that each board member maybe go back, this has all been videoed every one of our meetings, and go back and watch, re-educate ourselves by going back and watching the videos. You can't sleep at night, put the video on, guarantee you. You know, you'll be able to, but that might be a good refresher for us, because we've had some wonderful presentations.
I know.
Yes,
Okay,
we
so
have.
okay, so we want to get, okay, so what do you want us to do, what should we do now?
Well-
Right now, this minute.
Right now, let's move to adjournment, but have the chairman send each or 2 of us an assignment, and we'll accept the assignment that you ask us to do, and we'll dig in. But then also, I'm asking that we all go back and start rewatching these videos to get a refresher, and then we can reschedule another meeting, maybe after Labor Day. We'll maybe take a break until after Labor Day.
I think there's one on the calendar. I
Is there-
think we just got
do
an
we have one on-
invitation.
Did you
We have one
schedule
in
one?
2 weeks,
So that would
Oh,
be
we
one.
do?
Yeah, I won't be, that one I
there's
won't be
no
here for.
speaker.
I think there was a
that,
September
Jeff?
one.
No, from 2 weeks from tonight, I'm not going to be here.
So we're running
Will it
into Labor
cancel?
Day weekend, so maybe we should wait till after Labor Day and reconvene.
Okay,
Yeah, I can't be here
I'll
either.
cancel that one.
And this, give us time to all work on whatever assignment Jeff gives us.
We have one September 3rd.
Yes.
Yeah, right? That's right, Labor Day is the 1st?
Yeah.
Is that good with everyone?
So I'll cancel the 20th.
Okay.
And then we don't have any guest speakers, so we can just work on this.
Yeah, and maybe we said.
All right, let me just ask this. One of these is finance, let's talk about that. Who on here is good with finance? I mean, somebody want to step up and say, I can do that? I want to know what you think is good, I mean, what you're comfortable with. These 2 folks here, they've already got number 5.
Well, I'll volunteer to take the finance because I'm going to employ some of our team here, and I got a guy looking over my shoulder here.
I was waiting for you to say that, with him standing there.
We saw him.
He's always
Wince.
volunteering.
He's always volunteering.
He's a recent Harvard
Yeah, he's got a
Yeah.
Harvard
graduate.
graduate, a Harvard guy.
Yeah, but he can't claim it that way. How do you refer to it as, Michael?
Dr. Michael?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it Dr. Michael?
All right, I'll work on number 2, the current situation here in the township on all these things. But somebody else want to say, well, you both, and,
I'll work with Gary.
huh?
I'll work with Gary. What's he working on?
Oh, okay.
What are you working on?
What do you want? Which one do you want?
This is like Jeopardy.
Well,
We could work on number 3. How would that be, Mindy?
Okay, that'd be
But
great.
that leaves you and I work on this. Okay, very good.
Okay. Is that all right with you? Are you okay with that?
We've got,
Gary,
We
maybe
are
on that
adjourned,
one.
right?
there's some people missing. There's-
Yeah, Dave and,
Yeah,
Just take one.
pardon me?
Dave Servanak's the only one.
It's John
not here.
Servanac.
John Servanac.
John, yeah, Dave and
You
John.
just get an assignment.
All right,
5
see you.
grandkids at home, so I gotta take them.
Go,
Okay.
go.
All right,
Thank you.
then I guess we're ready to adjourn,
Yeah,
right?
One other.
Well, go ahead.
Quick thing. So I think we have now almost a month now to work on this. So what we ought to do is think of our September meeting as an end product
I
meeting.
forgot I can go out.
yes.
that way.
We should be coming back with whatever the subgroup has come together to share with the other committee
So
members.
pick a date to get something to Susan,
Yeah, so, maybe, so we should say we got a deadline of what's,
20, Monday, the 25th?
so Monday the
that
25th, you
gives
got something.
her-
I put it, I have it on my notes right here.
That gives her more than a week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
And
that
then
there?
yeah.
I got you right here for that.
Okay.
Okay.
On your workflow?
And so we can actually have something to talk
Thanks,
about at
Mindy.
our meeting.
Is
So,
that,
yeah.
that gonna work?
But the question I have is, do you guys want all of your information put into like a report to give to the board as well as then a supporting presentation?
But what I see our meeting in September is still kind of refining each one of the subgroups before we start to put it into a final report. So our section, we should say, here's what we're doing, and have the committee discuss it, and then we can kind of agree on it, and we can go finalize it.
So a draft
Yeah,
to Susan by August 25th.
yeah.
Of
I
some
can't
sort.
make that.
Yeah.
Or an outline.
Right. Bullet points.
Yeah,
I can't,
Well,
that's
it
impossible.
also should not be a term paper.
No,
Right.
You know,
a term
Jeff, do
paper.
you think that's too aggressive?
A thesis.
I can't possibly do that.
so, all right, so what do we want to do?
Not by
We should
August.
have,
Well,
a
I tell you
whole-
what,
why can't we,
Why-
why don't we do it for middle of September?
Yeah,
Well, the date is to bring this to the township, to the board of trustees, it's not fixed in stone. It
Well,
was something we just figured,
But I think-
okay, let's
I
do
think in
it.
the middle of September, all of this preliminary stuff would be put in, and it could be digested before then. It shouldn't be the first time you as the chairman look
Yeah,
at it.
right.
I mean, you have to, you're making the soup here, so you could.
well, the other key ingredient here is we're watching what's gonna happen in Lansing.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
And they by October 1st, they, by law, boom.
they
Right.
may have a solution.
Yeah, that could be a game
So
changer.
should we wait then to meet to maybe mid-September, and then we'll have some more time to kind of,
Well, you mean as far as what Jeff was proposing about us,
Yeah.
I can't possibly get this done by the 25th of August. I'm gonna be away most of the time.
so why don't we do,
yeah, so let's just shoot for the middle of September
Okay.
And then by October, we can go to the board of trustees.
with something.
Again, I'm gonna say, just a report on what we found out, what
Right.
we've learned.
Right.
I don't even wanna discuss solutions.
Or just the status of where we're at.
Mr.
That's it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move to adjourn.
I support.
Okay, we're done.
Or done.
Are you reading?